Jeff Moore will talk with us about all of that, and TJ Reeves will be with us near the bottom of the hour. It was a great weekend for me as a fan because my teams got W's. It was not a good weekend for me as a picker. I was 0-5. That is the first time I can recall in all the years I've done these picks that I did not win a game. Now, I picked winners, but not spread winners. Lost by a couple of hooks. 0-5. I'm now 10-15 on the year. Did not think that Landon Schmidt, my producer extraordinaire, who was way behind me just a couple of weeks ago, a lead I thought would be insurmountable even if the season went 52 weeks, let alone the shortness of college and pro football. But here we are. He goes 2-3, gets me on one hook. Maybe both. I have to go look. He's 10-15. We are knotted in, I would say, mediocrity, but Landon, it's even worse. 10-15. The two collective minds are that bad under 500. If we were betting in Vegas, we'd be broke.
We would. It's not a pretty look, but I felt good about the 2 wins that I got this past weekend. I felt good about those.
Well, I'm glad that you did. Those were Auburn.
Yep.
And that was also Ole Miss. Ole Miss is impressive. You'll hear from me in Metals about that, and they moved up to number 4 in the polls. Mm-hmm. That was pretty good. All right, let me get to, and we didn't get home till 3 in the morning, so I kind of slept in, but it was okay, because all I did when I woke up was drink coffee and watch Ryder Cup intermingled with football, watch the end of the Bears game, watched Sunday Night Football. We saw some history there. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of interesting things. Like after the embarrassment by the U.S. Ryder Cup team on Friday and on Saturday, I mean, you consider that you go into Sunday 11.5 to 4.5 in basically 4 sessions, with 16 points available. All you can do is get 4.5. This team was, I don't know if it was choking. Some of that was Euro. Great play. Some of that was poor planning by Keegan Bradley, not team choosing, which wasn't the greatest, but his decision, which he admitted, to take the beast out of Bethpage Black, to make it benign, to take away the rough, the wet prior week, and soften the greens. It did not turn out to be an American advantage. So he made a major mistake in that regard. And it used to be, you wanted a long course because the Euros were never bombers and the Americans were. Well, you didn't have that many bombers. And the Euros can hit it just as far as you can now. I mean, there's only 2 guys that are really long ball hitters on the American team now. And unless you want to throw in Scotty Scheffler, because he can absolutely hit the ball. But the 2 bombers are Cam Young and Bryson DeChambeau. That's it. So the whole setup was dumb. But no one ever came back from 5 down, ever. The biggest comebacks, 2 of them in Ryder Cup history, were down 4 on Sundays. And Americans always seem to dominate the singles. It's because that's what they play. They're not team-oriented. That's why Ryder Cup. And we used to dominate the Ryder Cup. This was brought up, and it was beautifully brought up, that the domination by the American teams over the Ryder Cup teams from over in UK came before England and Ireland added all the European teams. Spain and France and every other country were added to the UK. Since then, I want to say that Europe actually is ahead in the overall standings. So you can't, you count it because we're U.S. and we did win those Ryder Cups. But once they brought in all the European teams, this stuff has been very close or in favor of Europe. And What happened the first 2 days was absolutely embarrassing. And then you go 8.5 and 3.5 on Sunday, and you almost think, and I'm sure NBC is thanking the golf gods for this. This was interesting until the last 15 or 20 minutes when finally Europe won it. The Americans had a chance to really win everything except one, and there was only one singles win, and that was Ludwig Oberg. Otherwise, the Americans were about to win everything. They won 6 of them. There were 5 ties. Unbelievable that was an 8.5, 3.5 win. That was total domination, and it saved the American team from embarrassment, which, let's be honest, that was what we were looking at, embarrassment. Scotty Scheffler, that's tough. I mean, he's 1-4. He's lucky to win one, and he's the first American ever to go 0-4. And he was looking at 0-5. But he and McIlroy had a great match, and he did prevail in the end on that. One little complaint: I'm not making it a rust. I'll get to because there's 2 things that I have on the Ryder Cup in rusts. But I think NBC made a mistake. I must tell you, I love Paul McGinley as an analyst on Golf Channel. I think he's the great yang to the yin of Brandel Chambly. You learn something when you hear both of those analysts talk golf and personalities. And they're honest in all the pre-games that they do for the PGA Tour and for the majors. But I don't understand why they put a guy who has been a Ryder Cup captain and won, who has been on the Ryder Cup team, who is to this moment a strategic consultant to the European Ryder Cup team, and who is openly rooting, because he can't help himself, and I don't blame him, he's a Euro Ryder Cupper, but he can't help himself. He's rooting on an American broadcast for the European team. Now, do you think Sky Sports, which is the European version of golf in all of Europe that was doing the European feed, do you think they have an American on their broadcast that is rooting for the American team? I doubt it. I watched, by the way, Golf Channel had 3 of their guys. They didn't have Nick Faldo on, but they had Laura Davies and 2 people I don't know who were very good. They were prior to the events. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. I watched them. They were analyzing it, and they were for Europe. You know, that's the way it is. They don't have an American on there going, "Oh yeah, we're this. He's got to do this for us to win." There's nothing of that. And I don't think, and I know NBC got a lot of complaints about this. I don't think I would include him on the coverage during the event. Maybe because that's what he normally does. I would not put him on as the analyst if he's going to root for the other team. And I don't really blame him. I blame NBC for this. If he's on there, he's got to be him. But why would you do that? Why would you put a Euro guy on an American broadcast during the broadcast? I don't know. It was just a complaint for me. We got to move quickly because we got medals to do. The Tiger football team, history was made. They're 5-0. That's only the 4th time. Like the first one was in 1936. The last one was 2019, where they started off 5-0. This team, their defense plays so good in the second half. Jordan Hankins makes adjustments, finds out where they've made mistakes, and gets these guys to play so hard. They gave up a touchdown in the second half this time, but that was after a strip sack, fumble, return to the 19. Otherwise, they would have again pitched almost a shutout in the second half. I think now they've given up 20 points in the second half. That's it in 5 games. They're just remarkable. And then you had the amazing Greg Duosier back in form, 204 yards. Kenny Gainwell did that a couple of years ago. That was not the most amazing thing. How about a 90-yard run? The last person to do that, and I can't remember his name, but it was against Cincinnati, and it came in 1966. Holy mackerel. Almost 60 years ago, a guy ran for a 90-yard run. Duosier did that against Florida Atlantic. So, Tigers are all set. They will be favored in the next 2 games for sure. They play Tulsa, and then there's a bye, and they will play at UAB, and then the big one, October the 25th against USF. I don't know that this could be the case. But if USF won, they would be 6-1 coming into this game. Memphis would be 7-0. They would be the two absolute favorites to be the group of five representative in the playoffs. Would game day consider coming to Memphis if that was the case for the second time? Could be. Who knows? I'm throwing that out there just in case that could occur. Do you know, Landon Schmidt, what the Tigers are favored by against Tulsa on Saturday? And by the way, Bruce Howard will be our guest tomorrow morning, the voice of the Golden Hurricane, at 10:10. You know the line in that game?
Is it more than Florida Atlantic?
Yes.
I'm going to say 21.5.
You are close. 20.5.
Oh, man. Missed it by a point.
20.5, though. I don't know. That seems high to me. That seems
A
high
little
to me.
bit, maybe.
I just can't wait, though, to see. We've had two 100-yard rushers already this year. That was Lewis and Sutton Smith. Now we got a 200-yard rusher. I can't wait to see Sutton Smith and DeWosier be both in the 100s in a game. It's going to happen because they're too good. And it's interesting, not that I was predicting that DeWosier was going to be the star of this game, but broadcasters before a game will check pronunciations with each other and we'll sort of go over the personnel of each team. And I was saying to the Florida Atlantic play-by-play guy before the game, I said, and by the way, DeWosier is back and healthy now, and he's every bit as good as Sutton Smith. And the guy kind of looked at me like, really? I said, yeah, he's pretty good. And then he reels off 200 yards. This could be special this year. Hope folks show up to Tulsa. I really do. I hope it's a crowd. I know it's not going to be like the Arkansas crowd. But if it's 80% of that, I would be absolutely tickled pink. All right, we better get to this before it's going to slip away because we've got TJ Reeves coming up and Jeff Moore in the last segment. On Mondays, we do a thing we call Precious Metals. I have got to give a bronze medal to Trinidad Chambliss. I can't help but like this guy. I really can't. So, all he does is throw for 314 yards and a touchdown, and then runs for another 71. And this was against one of the best defenses in the country. This is LSU. The guy's got almost 400 total yards against. The Rebels win 24-19. They moved to number 4 in the polls. In his presser after the game, Chambliss is saying, you know, he came from Ferris State where they did win a national title, Division II school. He's 6 feet tall. Maybe, you think that's right? I don't know. It's close. But he goes, I never had a real offer. There was nobody interested in this guy from the Division I level. Not even a mid-major. Not Arkansas State. Not Memphis. Nobody. And then he goes and wins that title, and Lane Kiffin takes a chance to be insurance for Simmons. And now I think he's got to stay with him, doesn't he? He just did that, almost 400 total yards. They beat LSU. They're now number 4 in the polls, and they don't do it without this guy. It's a heck of it's one of the best stories so far, I think, in college football. So he gets a bronze. Shohei Ohtani, he gets a bronze too. And all these guys could be even higher than that. We got so many good things that happen in sports, though. He hit his 55th home run yesterday. Breaks his own record. He had 54 last year. Talk about consistency. This while he comes back from Tommy John surgery, right? 1-1 with a 2.87 ERA and 14 appearances when he comes back, and you know he's rusty. This guy is Babe Ruth. I mean, it's a really great story. And, of course, the Dodgers end up winning their division over San Diego, and they're in the playoffs, which, by the way, start tomorrow. And you got great stuff tomorrow. You've got Detroit and Cleveland, San Diego and Chicago, Boston and New York. You know the TV networks love that. And then you got Cincinnati and the Dodgers are in the wild card, too. Baseball's pleased. They got all these New York and Boston, L.A. and Chicago. You got the top 3 markets. They love it. They absolutely love it. Speaking of baseball, silver medal Milwaukee Brewers, 97 wins. Best record in baseball, franchise record. Pretty good stuff. Nobody talks about the Brewers. They better. They had the best record in all of the big leagues. Silver medal to the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles. I give it to them because they're the only two remaining undefeated NFL teams at 4-0, which tells you how much parity there is in the National Football League. And frankly, I can't remember only two teams after 4 weeks. Usually there's double that. So this is going to be one heck of a year in the National Football League. Gold medals, I got two, because I got to give Greg DeWozier a medal. I mean, the Tigers are 5-0 only for the fifth time in history. And DeWozier gets 204. There's not many 200-yard performances. And the longest 90-yard run, that's the longest in 66. Come on. He deserves it. So, Sutton Smith's got a 64-yard run. Now this guy's got a 90. Can we get more? We'll have to wait and see. And then finally, I got to give a gold medal to the Euro Cup team. They dominated the first 2 days like I've never seen. They kept composure from fan abuse. I'll get into that in a second. They deserved the win. They held on when the Americans had everything going on Sunday. The hole was just too big, though, and the Euros created that hole with great play on Friday and Saturday. I give the nod to that team. They were great.
Absolutely. I'm going to get things started with my first bronze medal going to Diego Pavia, who went 26 for 34, 321 yards, 5 TDs, one of those on the ground, 79 yards rushing, and just as a whole, give a bronze medal to this Vanderbilt team, who is also 5-0 right now.
Can you believe that? 5-0?
No, I don't. I know when I was doing my W's and L's for this team, I didn't have Vandy anywhere close to this.
There's 3 SEC teams that are 5-0, and there's a couple more that are 4-0. So you got 5 undefeated teams. If you had said there would be 5 undefeated teams after 5 weeks of SEC and college football play, you would never go, oh, yeah, Vandy.
Oh, yeah.
No
yeah.
way.
Vandy's going to be up there.
5.
No, I would have never thought that. But this Vandy team looks really, really good. Granted, it was against Utah State, but Utah State's not a bad team either. Total of 225 yards rushing, 546 total yards in their dominant win over Utah State. And I'm going to give a second bronze medal to Michael Penix Jr., who went 313 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. From the performance he had last week against Carolina to his bounce back of this week, the guy looked absolutely incredible. Definitely outshined Marcus Mariota in that game there. So big shout out to Michael for his big bounce back performance. My first silver medal I'm going to give to 2 guys from Notre Dame and their dominant victory over Arkansas, which we both picked Arkansas to keep that game close, and they just fell apart.
Cost Sam Pittman his job, and then they bring in Bobby Petrino again. I hope he's a better human being than he's been in the past, but he certainly hasn't started out that way, because you know what he did yesterday? He fired 3 defensive coaches, including Travis Williams, the DC.
Wow.
So he's already cut some ties there. But you know what? Notre Dame never punted in that football game.
Yeah, and they didn't have any reason to. C.J. Carr, their quarterback, went for 354 yards, 4 TDs. Jeremiah Love, 57 yards, 2 TDs. They looked dominant on all aspects of the game. Notre Dame just absolutely ran all over them. I give another silver medal, like you gave a gold medal to Greg DeRosier. I give a silver to him. 204 yards, 3 TDs. We've mentioned this before. Until somebody stops this rushing attack, Memphis is just going to keep running all over people.
Why not?
Why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No. And you win time of possession. The other offenses never get the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And so me and my family, we were watching that Florida Atlantic game. And in the second half, I mean, granted, Memphis was just dominating, but Florida Atlantic also just some really questionable play calling, going for it on like 4th and 10, deep in their own territory.
This is a young coach. I think he's still
he
learning.
Wanted to try to make some impact, but that was just no-brainer. And I'm sure, Dave, you and all of your listeners are questioning, why haven't I mentioned Hawaii football yet?
I have. I was waiting.
And here they are.
Don't tell me they get golds.
No, they get silver medals.
Okay.
I'm not going to give them gold. I'm not that delusional. Silver medal going to the Hawaii football team, who went 44 to 35 over rival Air Force. Mike Alejado completely switched it up. 35-47. 457 yards through the air with 3 TDs, and his star receiver, a transfer out of Stanford over to Hawaii, Jackson Harris, 7 receptions, 144 yards with 2 receiving TDs. This Hawaii football team dominated the time of possession, which is crazy to do over an Air Force team that loves the option, prides themselves on time of possession, holding on to the football. They went 14 for 19 on third down conversions in this game, which is the most I've seen in recent memory from any team. And then our star-studded kicker, we call him the Tokyo Toe, is Kansai Matsuzawa, who is now 16 for 16 on the year. He is 4 away from tying the record that was set by Jason Elam in 1989 of 20 consecutive field goals made.
Wow. Is Hawaii any good? Really?
We are.
I mean,
we are,
or is Air Force bad? Because, they play Navy this week, and Navy's a 10.5-point favorite in that game.
Well, Air Force was a 7-point favorite in this game, and Hawaii went in and just
scored 44.
Scored 44 on them, and I mean, we look good. We're 4-2 right now, promising. I think going forward, we're definitely looking at a finish of a winning season, definitely a bowl game appearance. I've already predicted we're going to go to the Hawaii Bowl. It's just inevitable because that's just where they belong.
Yeah, I see them in prognostications that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's where they're going to go. So big shout out to Hawaii football. They're my only team that did anything worth bragging about this weekend because 2 of my rusts come from my 2 other teams that just did terrible. But my gold medal goes to the incredible offensive performance that we saw on Sunday Night Football last night in Jordan Love and Dak Prescott. Both threw for over 300 yards, both threw for 3 TDs. It was a great game. The biggest disappointment is that it ended in a tie. I feel like the overtime rules need to reflect that of college football, where we have these guys duking it out, go until there's a definitive winner.
Yeah, but they play a whole period. I think it's okay. They
I mean,
do it in the playoffs.
It's
so
different.
I think it's okay.
But we've at least gotten to the point to where now both teams in overtime are getting a possession.
Yeah.
So
I
there
think
is
it's
room
fair.
for change.
I think it's okay. That, by the way, historic because it's the highest point total of any overtime game in history. All right, my 2 rusts. I don't like the envelope rule at all. I know it helped the Americans a few years ago. It's helped Europe in the past. If your guy can't go, why do you penalize the other team? That wasn't right to Harris English. That wasn't right for the American team to forfeit what could have been a full point. They only got a half a point. That should be the penalty to the other team. I know it's not necessarily the fault that Victor Hovland had a bad neck. Maybe you should consider that when you're picking guys if there's prior injury. But I don't think the Americans should have been penalized. I think that's got to change. And I think the American behavior at these things. When you're throwing a beer at Rory McIlroy's wife, when you're shouting profanities at her, and frankly, when you're shouting profanities at anybody, why do you have the right to do that? You can say, that was a terrible shot, okay, and you can laugh if they screw up. That sends a message. But the behavior of those at Bethpage in New York, and maybe the New Yorkers were trying to live up to their rep, which is a terrible reputation. I wouldn't want that reputation.
No.
I mean, you can be hard on a team and keep a home course advantage, but with some civility. That's a disgrace.
It's inexcusable.
If I were a New York fan that went to that, I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, I have 3 rusts. The third one is just because I think it's funny. But my first one goes to the Tennessee Titans. This team is in shambles. This organization is terrible. We need to make changes, and it doesn't seem like we want to make any changes.
Can I give you one word?
Go
2
for
words.
it.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. It starts even before that. Why let go of Vrabel? Why let go of A.J. Brown? Why let go of Derrick Henry? Why let go of all of these star players
exactly.
we were rolling in 2019, 2020, 2021.
The Addams family, buddy.
Yeah. But she'll never sell. She's making too much money with this team,
Yeah.
so she won't do anything different. The only change that we have coming in the future is something that's already in progress, and that's a new stadium next year. And there's no team in the NFL right now least deserving of a new
thank the
stadium.
state of Tennessee for putting up a bill for the Addams family.
Yeah.
They did put up some money, by the way.
They did, but this team. Cam Ward said it best. He said, "If we're keeping it a buck right now, this team's terrible. They need changes. We need to fix something." In my opinion, fire everybody. Let's start anew. Sell the team. We need fresh start no matter what. My second rust goes to the Mets, who put up a goose egg over the Miami Marlins, who the Marlins have been a roadblock for the Mets making the playoffs before, and they did it again. So now the Mets are no longer going to be making it in the postseason.
Fate was in their hand and they got shut out. Terrible.
Absolutely. And now, after that game, Pete Alonso has let everybody know that he's opting out of his contract and will become a free agent this year. So not only did we not make the playoffs this year, but we are losing our star first baseman, who is the all-time Mets leading home run leader, and now he's gone. My third rust, I'm going to keep mentioning him until they get a win, but Nico Iamaleava with UCLA.
I love it.
They now dropped to 0-4, only 180 yards and a TD. You expected more from this guy who left a great program, a college football playoff contender, to now be 0-4 with UCLA.
It's the greatest trade in the history of college football.
For Tennessee.
For the Vols.
For the Vols.
Question about that. Those are our medals. Brought to you in part by Family Leisure. Don't forget the world's biggest spa sale still going on, probably through the end of the month, where spas started under $3,000, 30% off the big swim spas. Floor model specials are big, and the cold plunges are under $5,000. Get there. There's special financing available at the world's biggest spa sale at Family Leisure. We take a break. We're back in a minute. We go to Tampa. The great sideline reporter and a whole lot more. TJ Reeves is right around the corner.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating, for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Shh. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
When life crashes into you, literally, NST Law doesn't just show up with a briefcase. They show up with heart. They sit with families after devastating wrecks, look them in the eye, and say, "We've got you." No scripts, no legal jargon, just real people fighting for real justice. If someone turned your life upside down, NST helps you stand back up. They've been doing this for over 35 years and have won billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go to nstlaw.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We are flying to Tampa in a moment. TJ's brought to you by Southern Security. Whether you're a small business owner, maybe a single mom, maybe you're buying your first home, Southern Security could be your trusted financial partner. For over 75 years, Southern Security has been helping your neighbors in the Mid-South with the best rates, the best service, the newest technology. Wait till you see that new building they've got in Collierville. It's going to open in a few weeks. It's been voted the very best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 straight years. The 7th is coming. You can join so easily. Finding out more by going to southernsecurity.org, or you can actually talk to a human being at 901-452-7900. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. A. As I mentioned, we're heading down to Florida. TJ Reeves joins us now. Good morning, Mr. Reeves. How about that almost comeback? Almost from 7 down. Europe was great. The Ryder Cup had some drama in the end, but the U.S. really failed those first 2 days. Good morning.
Well, good morning. You're going to try to cheer me up a little bit here because the Buccaneers took a tough loss to the Eagles. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I do have to ask you why you throw that pass on first down.
We'll talk about that in a minute or two. I have to confess, obviously, I'm working all day and late afternoon yesterday. I saw almost none of this live.
Ooh.
I saw the coverage after the fact and have now seen and gotten fully caught up on what happened. And this was shades, I know you probably have already brought it up, shades of Brookline 1999 with the U.S. storming back that day with Tiger and David Duval and Phil Mickelson winning all the early matches against the Europeans. I mean, when they beat Rose and Fleetwood, you kind of raise an eyebrow. And then you look up and Rahm is beaten and Rory is beaten by Scheffler. And now you start calculating how many more matches do they have to win.
And they're ahead in.
Yes, and how many more do they have to win? And it was amazing that it came down to that. They just dug too big a hole. Wild Sunday. I'll be fascinated. What were the ratings against the NFL, which is so powerful? But at least they had some drama for a couple hours.
It would have been dreadful if that had been a drought like they did on Friday and Saturday, but they made it interesting, and NBC has to be happy about that. I do want to make one point, and I forgot to do this earlier. I am glad that it was 15-13, because if it had been any less with that rule, the envelope rule,
I was just going to ask you, please clarify for me, what is the rule? Because I had not. Apparently, it's been used before, but I've not heard of this. So explain it to me. Go.
So if there is an injured player on the final day, because you have 4 players to play with in the team sessions on Friday and Saturday. In singles, if a player cannot go, the United States captain and the Europe captain each puts a name into the envelope of that person that will not be able to go. So once Victor Hovland could not go, then they go to that envelope, and that envelope had Harris English in there. Now, he doesn't put that in until Saturday night, Keegan Bradley.
So in other words, just so that we understand what we're talking about, is they were taking turns picking. My first golfer is going to be so-and-so,
right,
and then the other side gets to pick. And then the second side, the B side, gets to pick first next, and it alternates. So what you're saying is each side has to have a name in the envelope in the event that when one captain says, okay, my guy can't play, the other side opens their envelope and says, here's who the other player is that we would have had. That's what you're saying.
Which I think is terrible because, in all honesty, why are you penalizing the healthy team?
Can we just clarify that this needs to be changed, that if that player can't play, unfortunately, you give the point to the other side,
I think,
period.
Personally,
that's
I think that's the way it should be. Now,
in tournament play, if a team can't play, in tennis, if a player can't play,
he defaults.
You don't half the match. That's right, you default.
Right.
In a regular tour event, in a championship, if you have to withdraw, you don't get your prize money. You don't get your place in the standings. You didn't play the final round. So I don't understand. And by the way, you love the nostalgia. This came into play in 1991 when the Americans won at Kiawah Island, because I have a great friend of mine in England that pointed this out this morning.
Luke Donald pointed it out yesterday.
Yes, okay, well, I didn't see it on the coverage. It's
not the first time the Euros have used it either. So
okay, right. Yeah. But it has come up before, and the U.S. won by half a point to win the Ryder Cup.
Right.
On the same thing before. Why in 2025 is this still a thing? Why has this not changed? That if you can't play because of injury, that should be it, because you're right. When it was coming down to the final hour, if that half point had basically been the decider, wow.
Right.
Controversy on that one.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad it was 15-13 for that. Luke Donald says it's in the contract. Well, contracts are made to be rewritten. That rule does need to go out.
Let me say this before we talk about the NFL. Yeah. What an embarrassing joke, the behavior of the New York idiots that were there yelling vulgarities. There's video of the one that's throwing a beer at Rory McIlroy and his girlfriend.
His wife.
I mean, it's just an wife. That's right. What an embarrassment. What an absolute embarrassment. There was a lot of concern about having this in New York. Again, you have some that are well behaved in New York. You have a large portion that act like idiots at all sporting events. They just feel like they have to go be drunk idiots. So I think we can pretty well assure they're never going to get a Ryder Cup again in the state of New York after that happened this weekend, because it was classless. It's classless stuff with them yelling at the European players. That never goes on when we play over there. It's a joke.
All right, only 2 undefeateds in the National Football League. You guys had a chance. You'd lose a heartbreaker.
Oh.
Baker Mayfield is marching his team down like he's done every week so far, and throws a pick on 4th and 1 on a first down. Excuse me. If he has 3 other downs, why doesn't he throw it away? I don't get that.
The rub there. I mean, again, they made a great rally. The game's 24-3, Wolo, and I'm standing there in the heat going, "You got to be kidding me! This is going to end up bad." No, it did not end up bad. They rallied. He threw a couple of big touchdowns. I mean, what a leader he is. And on that first down play, I'm with you. You're in field goal range. You're down 31-23. There's 6 minutes left in the game. If at the minimum you get the field goal, you now are going to get a chance to stop them, get the ball back, and win it with a touchdown again. But he throws on first down, and what actually happened is the Eagles player, Cooper DeJean, ends up tipping the ball, took the velocity off the ball and changed the direction, and they made a great play. Jahad Campbell, the Alabama first-round pick, linebacker, makes a great diving play. And even that wasn't the end of the game, because the Bucs stopped the Eagles, got the ball back again with 2 minutes left, and had a chance for a touchdown and a 2 to tie it. Philadelphia just stopped them again. And in the end, the Eagles showed why they're the defending champs. By the way, that's 20 of the last 21 games they've won. They are 20-1 going back to the middle of last season.
Wow.
So they're really good. They're really good, and why do I get the feeling we may see those 2 teams again in January in the postseason? Stay tuned.
I love the parody of the National Football League, that's for sure.
How about this? Jalen Hurts on fire in the first half, 15 of 16 with 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts 0 for 8 in the second half. The Eagles had negative net 1 yard, -1 in the second half on offense, despite getting the touchdown, because they had sacks, they had tackles for loss. So the Buccaneer defense did its job. The Eagles just made a couple of key stops at the end of the game. Wild for sure, and Philadelphia remains unbeaten.
How about your alma mater? They're perfect 5-0. How about there are 5 teams in the SEC that are 5-0, including Vanderbilt, and the 4th Power 4 coach fired this weekend, Sam Pittman, after Notre Dame just destroyed Arkansas. Notre Dame never punted in the game.
How about Memphis helped accelerate Sam Pittman's departure? I can tell you on the Buccaneers sideline yesterday, when the word was going out, they fired Pittman, and I said immediately, is Petrino the coach? Is what I said to somebody. Yes, Back to the Future. They're in Arkansas, and why do I get the feeling that's going to end in flames like everything else Bobby Petrino touches? But stay tuned on that. But yeah, I mean, what a game for Alabama at Georgia the other night. You think Kalen DeBoer shut some people up, made more friends again? Everybody wanted him out right after the Florida State loss.
Right.
Now they love him again after they go to Georgia and win. So it'll be wild in the college football for sure.
That is college football for sure. And Oregon beats Penn State. Now, the record for James Franklin, and I've been a James Franklin fan, but there's no way to defend this.
Indefensible.
In top 10 games, the guy's record is 4-21. First of all, that you played 25 games says something about you.
And by the way, you rally and you get the game tied. You go into overtime and you get the first touchdown. How do you not win that game at home? How do you not find a way up 7 in overtime to stop them and win the game? So his record is his record, and as much as he wants to deflect and act like it's not a problem, when he steps up and plays the best teams on his schedule, which at this point at Penn State, they only care about Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon's now in the Big Ten. They care about those biggest games, or if they're playing a Wisconsin, or now you even have to say Indiana. Indiana looks like a top 10 team. I mean, how does he do in the biggest games? That's what they care about, and what a win for Oregon to come in there and get that one. That'll mean a lot later in the year.
Yeah, there is absolutely no doubt, and we didn't mention this, but earlier we gave a medal. Ole Miss, that's a great story with a kid who's a little tiny guy who has now got the Rebels number 4 in the country.
By the way, I did not see it in all the hullabaloo. Did the LSU media member that Brian Kelly was yelling at about asking him about the run game, did he get the first question off again when Brian Kelly had 30 yards rushing on 16 carries in the game? Did LSU run game media guy get the first question? I didn't see that, Willow. We got to double check.
We will.
If he got to ask him again about the run game. We'll look into that.
Excellent point. TJ Reeves, I guess we're not talking to you next week. Is that what I
am flying back in the middle of the night from Seattle. Here's one more note because I know you got to go. The Buccaneers start time may have to be moved back later in the day because of the Mariners home playoff baseball game because they're in the same complex with the same parking lot.
Right.
I don't know at what point, dark 30, I'm going to be back in the Eastern time zone on Monday. If I can be with you, I will message you and I will join you. But I may be, I don't know. I may be lights out at that point. We'll see. Trying to fly back from Seattle. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Look, I didn't get home till 3 in the morning the other night. So
and we're not the youngest guys doing this crap anymore. But if I can be with you next week off of the Seattle trip, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll let you know for next week.
All right. We'll at least talk in 2 weeks, if not before. Thank you,
Go
TJ
Tigers.
Reeves.
Keep winning. Go Tigers.
Yeah.
Be well.
And they should be 7-0 in a few weeks, but we shall see. That's TJ Reeves, brought to you by the commissary. You know, they won the poll. They did this. Actually, it was like a playoff. And the commercial appeal did this thing. It was a barbecue tournament. The number 1 barbecue place in Memphis was the Germantown and Collierville commissaries, 2 great places. The original is in Germantown. The new one in Collierville, which is a palace, has this new all-you-can-eat buffet. It's a great lunch Monday through Friday. You get 3 proteins. There's always going to be barbecue and chicken. It could be brisket. They switch up the 3rd protein, 5 sides, salad, and a drink, all for $15.95. It's the place for all your football tailgate needs. You can take it out to a high school tailgate or a college tailgate. With the holidays around the corner, catering for any size parties. It's easy with the commissary. If you got a church group or a school, you can bring it out, or you can go in. They've got party rooms in both their places. It's perfect for the celebrations. And with Thanksgiving, don't forget the commissary smoking up the perfect turkey or spiral ham. Never too early to order the commissary. Making everything special in Germantown and Collierville. We've got the NFL front and center again with our former Vol, former Ram, Jeff Moore. He comes your way next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ready to shine, Memphis? Drive clean all month long with unlimited wash plans at Club Car Wash. Stop by any 4 Club locations in Greater Memphis or visit clubcarwash.com today.
Club Car Wash. Join the club.
Hey everybody, are you ready? Well, you should be, because it's time to load up and head for the games or hit the road with All-Star Chevy. All-Star Chevy right here in Olive Branch is getting you ready for driving season, for tailgate season, and everything in between. Come check out the all-new Tahoes and Suburbans, Traverses. All the Silverados are here. Financing as low as 0 or 3.9 and no payments for 90 days. 1.9 and no payments for 90 days on a new 2026 Equinox. And your good credit, of course, deserves it. Military and first responders, you get an extra $500 bonus. And All-Star has the best of the best pre-owned and certified Chevys. Tons of Silverados, Tahoes, Equinoxes, even the sexy, sleek-looking Corvette Stingray. If you have any car or truck you want to sell, this is the best week, and All-Star Chevy is the best place to bring your title and get a big check today. Are you ready? Let's go together. Let's drive. Everything you want is here. All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Does your system sound like this? Hi, this is Lauren Choate from Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. If your HVAC system is over 10 years old, then it's probably out of warranty. Don't wait for it to break down and cost you expensive repairs, but be proactive with this incredible deal from Choate's. Right now, for a limited time, for the first 50 customers, we're giving a free 10-year labor warranty plus $1,000 off a brand new Carrier system install. That's peace of mind and big savings. And that's not all. Thinking about a backup Generac generator or maybe endless hot water with a Rinnai tankless system? You'll also get $1,000 off plus a free 10-year labor warranty on those too. Since 1958, Choate's has been serving the Mid-South with old-fashioned service you can trust. So turn to the experts with Choates and call 347-8086 and let our family serve your family.
It's time to hit the road with the best deals in the Mid-South, brought to you by Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV plug-in hybrid, $299 a month with more headroom and legroom and longer warranty, and lower price than Toyota RAV4, plus standard third-row seat and 2.99 APR for 60 months, available on 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV plug-in hybrid. Or take your pick from 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander or 2025 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, just $399 a month. Not a lease. Outlander or Eclipse Cross, $399 a month. You own it. And you always find peace of mind with our 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So hurry to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Online, MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
PHEV SC 00816 MSRP 42615 Outlander SU 32343 MSRP 36105 Eclipse SCO 39973 MSRP 317 includes all rebates in this NSPF 895 excludes tax, final license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Time to talk some NFL football with our veteran, Jeff Moore from the Rams and the Vols. Joins us to end every Monday, and there's only 2 undefeated teams left in the NFL. Hard to believe. Buffalo and Philly, 1 in the NFC, 1 in the AFC. It seems to me, and we've done this for so many years, that after 4 weeks, usually there's double or triple that amount. It shows you the parity, I think, in the league this year, Jeff.
I think absolutely, Dave. I think it's once again on any given Sunday, because looking at the Bills, they very easily could have and should have lost their first game to the Ravens. And the Eagles have not been impressive at all. They've had some games that they barely squeaked. They don't look dominant at all. So, yeah, I mean, it's 2 undefeated teams, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2 weeks from now there are no undefeated teams.
There's not going to be the Dolphins. What is that, the 75 Dolphins?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, they can breathe easy.
Yeah.
Although there's not many of them. Is there anybody left? I know when Mercury Morris passed away, that might have been. There's no Zonka. Sure. There's no Kick. I'm pretty sure they're almost. Don Shula's gone for a long time. But anyway, that there's just too much parity in the league.
It is. I love it.
All right. So the week we got a doubleheader dud tonight. We'll talk about that. But Sunday night was no dud.
Yeah.
Historic 40-40 overtime tie. Block kick came into a part of that, an extra point that became 2 points for the Dallas Cowboys. There was very little defense. The 80 points scored in the overtime game is the highest overtime total ever.
Yeah. Both teams' defensive certainly did not play well. But I think a lot can be said about the way Dak Prescott is playing so far this year. I mean, he's had to be the leader of this team with the loss of their best defensive player. They lost CeeDee Lamb for this game, and he's just consistently played well, lifted his teammates, and they scored 40 points against what is a team that many thought was the best defense in the NFL a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, and then, of course, there were a lot of other things hanging on this game with the trade and how many times the TV would pan up to Jerry Jones if any sacks were being made. It was a fascinating game, very well competed. I thought both teams played hard, played as best they could. The defenses just didn't show up, and they were fortunate to get away with a tie. The Green Bay Packers should have lost that game because of clock management. But that's what happens in the league. You've got to be able to take care of those details to be able to get a W. It's not easy.
3 things that you just mentioned to unpack here. Mm-hmm. Let's start with Dak Prescott. That is as good a game, I think, as I have ever seen Dak Prescott play.
Yeah.
It was also the best pass I've ever seen him make in overtime, where he's running away from the line of scrimmage to his right, harried, and throws a 45-yard pass in the air,
yeah.
where the receiver comes back and makes the most unbelievable catch in real time. I did not think there was any way he was in bounds.
Yeah.
How that official saw that both feet came down is amazing to me, because NBC had to use slow-mo in order to see that second toe tap.
Yeah.
It was absolutely phenomenal. And so he was great.
Yeah.
Second thing, and that is Micah Parsons, the trade. All the emotion that was going on with that, which got Jerry Jones more exposure than I think Taylor Swift would have gotten if she was at the game.
Yeah.
But he's nothing. He's very little in this game at all until the overtime.
Yeah.
Two hurries in the overtime and a sack when Prescott, I think, is going to go in and score the winning touchdown.
Right.
So that to me was pretty phenomenal. And the time management by Jordan Love at the end, how lucky he is that ball did not sail through the end zone. And he's lucky that it was it was in Dallas where the guy was honest.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought that thing would have gone out.
The ball could have been tipped. I mean, anything could have taken that 1 second off. Jordan Love has made a couple of difficult decisions at the end of games so far this season that have really one ended up in them obviously having ended up in a tie and having a chance to tie the game, but the other they ended up losing and just not sure what's going on in Green Bay. I mean, their defense has regressed, and it's just 4 games, so there's no reason to panic. But their last 3 games, they should have lost. And their first 2 games, they looked phenomenal. So we'll see. We'll see if they figure it out at Green Bay.
I'm with you. Kansas City looks like they've returned to their form that they've had for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They destroyed Baltimore. Now Lamar Jackson got hurt in that game.
Yeah.
That's a mess. Can the Ravens, which I thought was one of the best teams in the AFC, now they've lost a heartbreaker, as you said, they should have beaten Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now they're 1-3. Can you come back from 1-3? Very few teams do, but you got that extra game now.
Very few teams do, and very few teams do that have the chemistry that the Ravens seem to have right now. There's a lot of question marks on offense. You know, you see Lamar Jackson making a bad play, throwing his helmet on the sidelines. Then Derrick Henry, the last 2 weeks, makes a fumble, throwing his. You know, and that to me speaks of the kind of pressure these guys feel in those games. They're playing. They're not playing loose and free. They're playing like we have to win. And of course, that's the point of the game is to win. But these guys are just putting unnecessary, unusual pressure on themselves, and it's coming out in their play. So we'll have to see. I mean, that team is really a question mark because they appear to be one of the better teams coming into the season this year.
Do they make the playoffs?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I just don't think so because their division, I think the Steelers, although not impressive, they are 3-1 and appear to be kind of the class of that division. We don't know what's going to happen with Cincinnati, given the injury situation they have. But you know they're hanging in there. We'll see.
The Bears win at Vegas. They block a potential field goal at the end of the game to win it. By the way, that extra point that was blocked last night. That guy from Dallas was onside and got to that ball so quick. Never seen anything like it. But that's 6 block kicks in the last 2 weeks. What's happened to blocking on special teams?
I think defenses are putting more athletic players in the middle of the line and just allowing their big guys to connect. Just if the better athletes are in the middle of the defensive lines and they're getting through and blocking kicks is what I think is happening.
We are seeing
effectively.
We are seeing rookies play really good too. Ashton Genty with the Raiders had a great game against the Bears. Now the Bears defense is I don't know. Jackson Dart becomes the starter for the Giants, and they got a rookie running back, Cam Scadaboo, who was the star at Arizona State last year. He's playing pretty well there. A lot of young guys are coming in and making their presence known.
Yeah, and I like the fact that teams will just evaluate players, and if the rookie looks like can play as well as the veteran, they're putting them out there and letting them see what they can do. And that's the only way the guys can develop is they have to play. Being on the sidelines just doesn't do it. And it's been exciting to see those young guys get a chance. We'll see what happens with Jackson Dart. That's exciting what he's doing with the Giants. He didn't put up big numbers, but you can tell that team is energized by his being there.
I'll tell you what, Lane Kiffin, man, he finds quarterbacks. This kid, Trinidad Chambliss is pretty amazing in his own right too now at Ole Miss. It wouldn't be a week without controversy. We got it in the NFL this week. So, former head coach, now defensive coordinator for the 49ers, Robert Saleh, gets into it with the Jacksonville head coach, Liam Cohen, because Saleh says that Cohen steals signs. And he was actually kind of like saying it's legal. He's praising him for, I guess, doing detail work, but stealing their signs. That really PO'd Cohen. Do we have a lot of that in the NFL?
I don't know. I couldn't speak to that. I would not be surprised. We are a copycat league. Everybody kind of figures out what the other teams are doing, and they do it. And as long as it's not considered illegal, why not? I would not be surprised, though. I just don't know.
ESPN has to be bummed. Bummer of a doubleheader tonight. 2 0-3 teams with the Jets and the Dolphins, and then you've got the opening game tonight, which is Cincinnati, the only team over 500 against a 1-2 Denver team.
So, Denver, I think, is a good team that's going to continue to trend in the right direction. They're young. I think those games could be competitive. I mean, it's early in the season. The records don't mean a whole lot right now, and it's just a matter of how those teams perform tonight. So don't be surprised if they're good games.
I hope so, because
Yeah.
I'll be watching. Thank you. We'll talk to you again next Monday. We
Look forward to
appreciate
it.
you. That is Jeff Moore on the National Football League. He's brought to you by Miramichi. Miramichi in Woodstock. It is a gem of a golf course and a practice facility and a clubhouse, the true golf experience. Not in Millington, in Woodstock, 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. You want competition, you can play 7,500 yards. That's why they play NCAA tournaments and elite junior golf tournaments at Miramichi. I played at about 6,000 yards. I love it there. I love the beauty. I love the competition. I love the condition. It's in great shape. And the practice facilities, a true huge driving range. Then there's a practice facility with chipping green and a sand trap, and you can really learn how to play the game. Then the biggest putting green in all of Memphis. It's got the best practice facility of any public golf course I think I've ever seen. Thursday. That's the best day to go for rates. It's open on Monday. You could go right now. Tell them we sent you to Miramichi. That'll do it for us. Back tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio's right around the corner.